What's up, everybody? Hello and welcome to episode number 277 of the VK Bros with Jason and Alex Von Cannell. And it's official, I'm a convert, climate change is real, it is officially too hot, too humid, it's gross, it's disgusting, and unless our tax dollars can turn the temperature down right now, I'm going to need to get a direct line to the Jews who control the weather to please turn the weather down. How are you going this week, Alex?
I'm good. I have had 2 PBs in the gym this week.
Nice.
So I deadlifted 175 kilos, so that's up 5 kilos.
Nice.
It's actually, I haven't done 170 for like 18 months because I hurt my back in that time, and then I had like adductor issues in my leg, and I actually have rebuilt my deadlift technique for like the last 6 months, and it's a much better technique now.
Nice.
And so I felt much stronger doing it, and I'm also using a belt, which I never did before, and it makes a massive difference. It literally just keeps your guts inside you, which is great. And then
that's what you're supposed to use your core for, mate.
And then today was bench press and did 142.5 kilos on the bench, and it was the world's slowest bench press, to the point where the owner of the gym was sitting in the corner watching it, and he said that he watched the start of it, looked down, did some paperwork, sorted the pays out for his team, and then looked back up to watch the finish of it. And I don't know why. Oh, sorry, I know what happened. I've sort of de-racked it, and I've gone down and I've really focused on trying to get the bar right in the right spot, because when it gets really, really heavy, you've got to make sure that you're in the right position. But I was thinking about that so much that when I got it on the right spot on my chest, I just left it there. I paused.
Right.
And then I went up, and it went so slow, and my spotter was like, come on. And I literally went, I got this. I responded in my lift, and it went up at like a snail's pace, but it did get up there. And but what's not so cool, and I posted on my Instagram, was like having a 1.25 kilo plate on the end of 3 20-kilo plates. It just has this weirdest look. I don't like it.
And it's just so funny when you're lifting that at that level, and you realise that those 1.25 kilo plates make all the difference as well.
Oh, well, I had repped 140. Now, to be fair, I put 140 on and only did 1.5. Like, I couldn't get the second one up. So by all, like, testing's next week, so I probably should have stopped there, but I was like, no, it felt good.
Got to have a go. No, it's good, man. That's really good. We had a very unfortunate loss at basketball last night in a scrappy affair. I have never seen so much contact just get let go in a game before. Like, it was actually quite bizarre to watch.
What about when we used to play against the Wolfpack in the finals every year?
Oh, actually, yeah. Sorry, now I'm getting flashbacks. It's always good when you're friends with the referees, hey? It just seems to help out a lot.
Yeah.
But no, and our team, we've got a plan A, and just like the A team, there is no plan B. So our plan A is we've got bigs who are very good down low, so if you can feed them the ball or put them in good spots, we score. The team we played against last night just matches up against us really well. They've got a lot of very tall, very long guys who are athletic, so our players getting blocked is not normal for us. And then when we realised that plan A wasn't really working, we've got this other real big issue in that none of us can shoot.
Right.
So it was like, where are the points going to come from? And so there just weren't many points. And like, we played well defensively, but like literally the end score was 25-20. That's what we lost. Like, it was such a low scoring game but I got to say, I enjoyed it. Like, it was a tough game. And I would prefer it when the refs just let everything go rather than call everything as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But I must say that there was a particular guy on their team who was probably bordering on flagrant with a lot of the contact that he was making, like essentially shoulder charging people who are running down the court from behind, stuff like that, which I thought should probably have been picked up a little bit earlier, but
why didn't anyone remove the deck chair?
Well, no, I mean, removing the deck chair is one thing when they've got the ball, but I mean, he was shoulder charging our players who were running the ball up the court from behind, as a defensive play. It was bad stuff. And you know me, like, I like the rough and tumble. I don't complain. But some of that stuff, I was like, it's a non-basketball play. Like, you can be tough in basketball. That's a
sucks.
non-basketball play. And normally that sort of stuff does get called up. So I was a bit surprised. But look, it is what it is. Good learning experience for the team.
You can tell that you're such a dad now, because there's no way that pre-dad Jason would have caught that.
Oh,
there's no way in the world you would have caught that.
I started playing hard to the point where I had some guys getting quite argy-bargy with me. And I did tell someone to go fuck himself last night.
Yeah.
Which, and again, like, all it was he had the ball, I guarded him, I grabbed the ball, ripped it out of his hand, he got upset and blatantly pushed me. This is that same guy who I would have thought would have gotten maybe even a warning. And he just blatantly pushed me, and then the refs called it a foul on him, and that's fine. But then, like, I had no problems until he then started complaining at me afterwards, like, "Oh, keep your elbows down." I'm like, "Dude, I just got a clean grab." Like, fuck off, cunt. Like, just
you didn't grab it with your elbows.
Yeah, no, I don't play like this.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, shit happens. It's like my 5th game back in 8 years, so I'm not going to complain.
He's winding up.
It's just made
I know
me.
you.
It's just
Jason,
made me
you're like
go.
a brother to me. I know you. I know what's going to happen. I can see the future.
I just need to get more
exactly
reps up. I need to get more shots up. I need to just practice shooting, because that's what I need to do to be able to contribute more to the team. Anyway, I digress. Big week again this week, guys. There's a lot of stuff happening close to home, a lot of stuff around the information space, a lot of stuff around the renewable energy space that we can discuss. Should we start briefly, and this is sort of without notice, should we address some of the Epstein files stuff that's either come out so far or may come out, or some of the conspiracy theory around that?
Yeah, you can talk about your stuff, and then I'll close it off.
Yeah, so, well, actually, you know what? I would like you to start, because you've had this theory cooking for a little while, which I think is super relevant.
I'm coming straight to the conclusion. So if you want to set it up for the people, and then I'll...
Yeah. Okay, so essentially, and look, by the time this drops on Monday, because we are recording this on Friday morning, by the time it drops on Monday, I'm sure there'll be a lot more information that comes out, like Friday night is when a lot of these disclosures happen and those sorts of things. And yeah, so essentially the Congress has just approved a bill to release the Epstein files. All of them, apparently, apart from anything that may be involved in an existing investigation, which will be the loophole that they will use to hold back a whole bunch of stuff. And it's been a very interesting subject, the Epstein files, because as we've covered on the show before, in the lead up to the presidential election, it wasn't like, just for the record, just so everyone remembers, Trump never actually campaigned on releasing the files himself. People around his orbit talked about it all the time, but Trump never actually did. We've actually gone back, checked the tapes. He never actually mentioned it during his campaign. I think there was one podcast he appeared on where he got asked about it, and he basically said, yeah, like, I'd release it, like, I've got no problem with that. But apart from that, it wasn't part of his platform that he was on or anything like that. But you had guys around his orbit like your Dan Bonginos and your Kash Patels, who were literally saying the Epstein files exist and they need to be released and the Democrats are hiding them and blah, 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 blah. So I just want people to understand that, because a lot of people have been heavily critical of Trump in the last few months because of all the fuckery that's gone on around Epstein, which we've been critical too, because it should have just been released at the beginning, and it wasn't. And then you had, like, Kash Patel trying to pretend it doesn't exist, and like Pam Bondi's been, you know, she was the one who got caught on a hot mic saying that they had thousands of videos of essentially child abuse, and then she was like, yeah, it's on my desk to be reviewed for release, and then they're like, but it doesn't exist. So, look, it's been a clusterfuck.
Or has it?
Well, I could absolutely see how people who were supportive of Trump and his administration in the lead up to the election were extremely disheartened with the things that they were seeing from the administration when they came to power. Because it's kind of like business as usual, right? Typical politician stuff. Tell you everything that you want to hear to get elected, and then once you have power, you make up all the excuses in the world why you can't actually give the people what you promised. There have been some interesting things that have come out of these disclosures already. Like, I don't know if, I mean, you would have seen it, but some of you may have seen that there was a Democrat congresswoman who was appearing at a committee in regards to some of these matters, who was literally being coached via text message by Epstein on what questions to ask and about who. and it was about people that she didn't even know who these people were. And since this disclosure has come out, someone has actually gone back, gotten that, because his Epstein's text messages were released as part of this disclosure, and someone's gone back and found the timestamps of the text messages compared to the timestamps from this congressional video, and they've literally lined it up, and you can see her reading text messages and see the information he is feeding her to then ask to further an agenda. And like, this was after then
he even commends her after. Good job.
Yeah. And again, like,
and she's a Democrat, so it's not. This is not a partisan issue. This is very, very much a bipartisan issue, and I think that's what. This is the real story, which is about power.
Yeah.
It actually has very little to do with who's on the list. Because there's going to be heaps of people on the list.
Yeah.
Heaps and heaps of people on the list. But what it shows, what the real story is, which no one's really digging into, is how much influence this guy had on American politics.
Correct.
Everyone's on the list, right? Just about everyone that you hold dear to you in US politics, or in science, or in academia, or in, not music, because Diddy was
just in elite circles that play a part in power structures of the United States. And can we just clarify too, because when you say on the list, that is like his sexual, like pedophile clients. It'll be, what you're really saying is, will be in the disclosures.
Yeah, I should say that. Yeah, because actually, that's a really good point, because the assumption is that the list is just a list of assaulters.
Yeah.
But I mean, the memes of Trump and
Bill Clinton. Yeah.
So there was some Epstein talking to someone else asking about if Bill Clinton got sucked by Bubba, and everyone has just made Bubba Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And it blew up the internet. It was freaking hilarious. Some of the memes out there are so funny.
I would love to know how much AI investors' money got burnt on making these memes about Donald Trump sucking off Bill Clinton.
But saying that, we said it last week. Like, I've had people come up to me and say that, Trump's on the list. He is on the list. He is 100% on the list. But the reason why he's acting the way that he's acting, in my opinion, is for a very, very, very good reason.
Mm-hmm.
So, basically...
Sorry, before you get into it, can I just make a clarification too for people to understand? One of the things that I want you to look out for in any media reporting on this is they are mentioning how often Trump's name is mentioned in these disclosures. Epstein spoke about Trump all the time.
Mm.
So numbers of mentions in the disclosures does not mean crimes, does not mean proof of wrongdoing. It's literally just Epstein's records of communications with other people where Epstein is mentioning Trump to those people.
And I'd argue this. The more you are mentioned, probably the less likely you are implicated.
Of course.
So it's probably more along the lines of, hey, we're still trying to implicate this guy.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to yet. They're not talking about the people they've already got under control.
Yeah,
There's no reason to talk to them.
Because you also want to kind of protect their identities too, right? Because that's part of the racket. Yeah.
Yeah, but you also don't need to talk about them because the compromat's done.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So, and like we've said it on the show, we've shown the clip, Donald Trump didn't like him.
Yeah.
And he has been on the island. He did say he didn't like it. It was creepy, and that he likes them young. He's kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago.
Yep.
And anyone that's bringing it up and not talking about, like, Bill Gates still having meetings with him after he was convicted in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
So he got convicted of a crime in 2003. Bill Gates still went and saw him, still had parties with him.
And you've got to remember, too, like, Bill and Melinda Gates got a divorce during COVID. That wasn't that long ago. And one of the things that Melinda Gates cited as a reason for their divorce was Bill's relationship with Epstein.
Yeah. So why has Trump handled it the way that he's handled? I think Trump in 2020 is a very different... Sorry, 2024. Five. Well, no, when did he come in? 24.
This year. 25.
25.
Yeah.
Trump 25 is very different to Trump 2016.
Absolutely.
What in Trump 2016 was very reactive.
Mm-hmm.
Get hit, instantly react back. Get hit, instantly react back. He surrounded himself with parts of the establishment
swamp
that
creatures
worked against him. Yeah, absolute swamp creatures.
Yeah.
So that's why he was unable to drain the swamp before, because he was part of the swamp. Yeah. He inadvertently hired the swamp.
He freely admits he didn't know what he never expected to win. He didn't know what he was doing, so he took the advice.
He only did it because Obama told him that he couldn't.
Yeah, exactly. But he took the advice of people around him, saying like, who are the experts in all these areas, and then they just advised him to select all these swamp creatures.
So the new version of Trump is way more measured. And think about it, you're not seeing clips of him going buck wild anymore. He's just not doing it.
Oh, there was one clip. I'll see if I can find it.
Piggy?
Yeah.
So, well, Jordan Jensen said something interesting. She's like, that video is a little bit out of context, because what if we turned the camera around and it was literally a pig?
A pig, yeah. Or someone who identifies as a pig.
Yeah. Okay, so what I think is happening with Trump and this, he's playing 4D chess.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, instead of saying, as a Republican, we're going to give you the files, we're going to give you the files, we're going to give you the files, he has let the Democrats fight for them.
Yeah.
To the point where the Democrats have dragged their entire Democratic base across, and I've witnessed this myself. I've had lefty friends say that now they want the Epstein files when they never did before. They never cared before.
Yeah.
But now that they think it's got the cure to the Trump disease in it, now they want it. They're bloodthirsty for it.
Yeah.
So now what Trump's been able to do is essentially double the amount of impact these files are going to have.
Yeah.
And we know he's not implicated the way that people perceive it to be.
Yeah, that's right.
But heaps and heaps and heaps of Democrats, heaps of really powerful Democrats. I would say it's, if I had to guess, I'd say there's probably a 50-50 split, okay? Dems and Republicans, right?
Because it's people in power. They were trying to access people in power.
But what I would say is there's far more, like a higher echelon of powerful Democrat that's on there.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Than Republicans. There's no other, besides Trump, there's no other talk about any presidents.
Yeah. There's Bill Clinton, sorry.
Democratic president.
Yeah, sorry, you mean Republican president.
Republican president.
And can we also just say, for the record too, at the time that all the Epstein stuff was occurring, that Trump had a relationship with Epstein, Trump was a Democrat at that point.
Yeah.
Like, he was a Democratic guy from New York City. Like, he was a Democrat at the time that he was around him.
So let's look. We said this on the show last week. If they had a silver bullet, if the Democrats had a silver bullet that was going to slam dunk and take down Donald Trump, they would have used it in 2016.
Yeah.
Then they would have used it again.
Now, I would say, just on that note, as a caveat, the only reason why you wouldn't have done that is if you were going to take down some of your own prominent people at the same time. Because if you just do a limited...
That's the argument, for sure.
And again, and this is what I think is so genius about your theory, because you mentioned this to me during the week, and it just makes so much sense to me, is that, so let's say that there was a silver bullet that they could have used against Trump, but if you would have done a limited hangout disclosure of just Trump only, even a lot of the Democratic base would be like, look, we hate Trump and we're happy about this, but release all the rest of the documents. Like, why are you hiding them? So what you're saying about Trump playing 4D chess, and the thing is, when you say Trump's playing 4D chess, so many people just go like, oh, these guys are just glazing Trump. But to me, this does make a lot of sense as a 4D chess move, because You had people in your orbit campaigning based on the Epstein files. Then you took power, and if they just released the Epstein files immediately and it only implicated Democrats, most of the country wouldn't even believe it.
Nothing would happen. Yep.
Right?
Nothing would happen. Yep.
Because you would just say, this is just a political hit job, like, this is just revenge for what the Democrats did to Trump, like, it's a limited disclosure, he's hidden all of his culpability, blah, 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 blah. So what you're saying is right. He has people around him campaigning on it, he gets power, he withholds the documentation for long enough for the Democrats to convince themselves that he's holding it back for his own personal gain.
Bingo.
And so now they're baying for it.
Yeah. Now both sides are.
Yeah.
Both sides, because the Republican side, they thought they were going to get it, so they've wanted it the whole time.
Yep.
Now the Democrats, now they want it.
Yep.
You've doubled the exposure, and it means it's going to hit so much harder than what it would have just hit, like you just said.
Yeah.
So that's why I actually think it is genius. And it just shows, like, now we'll see. The one caveat I'd put, don't expect anyone to go to jail. Like, no one's going to go to jail. No. And like we said before, and the more I think about it, the more I think this to be true. We want child abusers to burn in hell or to go to jail.
Yep.
Okay. Because as a normal person, if any of us did that, that's what would happen to us. And that's what we think is the correct course of action to be used against us. But when you're in those elite circles, you can do far more damage to a person by using their power.
Correct.
Right? So if you get a deal done that you could never get done unless you could leverage this information, in their minds, now I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but what I'm saying, it's very easy to see why someone could get away with this, but we won't ever know what they had to do to stay out of prison. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like, just to probably try to clarify, one of the things that I have said on the show before is there's a lot of things that happen in global politics that don't make any sense to a rational human being. And to me, the Epstein files are essentially like the Lord of the Rings Ring of Power. It's the one ring to rule them all. And the fact is, as soon as you release all these documents, some people are going to be really embarrassed. Yes, some people are going to look. If stuff can be proven in a court of law that comes out of this, maybe some lower level people go to jail. Maybe we get a limited hangout, give the people a little bit of blood, and then just try to roll them like it never happened. But the number one most important fact about all of this Epstein stuff that people don't talk about is the fact that this is essentially the equivalent of throwing the Ring of Power into the lava of Mount Doom and destroying the ring, and therefore destroying the power that ring holds and wields over all of the people who are implicated in those documents.
Well, interesting that you say that, because what's probably not being covered is what we think the Ring of Power is, which is Israel.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously
Israel's influence over, and I think it could have started as something like, there's laws in America to protect Americans from the American government.
Yep.
But there's no laws protecting Americans from a foreign government.
Yep.
And when your foreign government is your friend, and you're asking your friend to do a favor, hey, can you check out our guys? Right? So they're never going to be held accountable for that. I think that's what this... now, I don't want to go into all the details for it, but there is so much evidence. If you want to go on a deep dive, start with Whitney Webb. Whitney Webb will show you in depth.
She's got a book about it. It's called One Nation Under Blackmail. You should read it.
Maybe put a link to her website. She will show you and bring receipts that this is the real story.
Yeah.
The child stuff is bad, yes, but it's all used for power over powerful people from a foreign government.
And that sounds really confronting, so let me try to break it down for you. If you can see that there are links between, say, American officials who make the decision on whether or not the country does military operations in a foreign nation, and maybe there's leaders of those foreign nations who are also compromised by, and let's just say that it's from molesting kids, right? Because that's been the implication of a lot of these things. Like you said, the molesting of the kids in itself is absolutely horrendous, and these people should be strung up and have their skin peeled off while they're still alive. But if their decisions that they made because they were threatened with that blackmail resulted in the deaths of hundreds or thousands of people in a particular region, because maybe there was some other interest at hand as well, then that is equally as, maybe even more evil in itself, because it does cause more and more human suffering. So you cannot just put it this way: the molestation victims are not the only victims in this story. It is how they have used that compromat to get powerful people to do things which have caused untold human suffering over the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
And that's the real story. And
it existed before Epstein. It like Ghislaine Maxwell's father.
Robert Maxwell.
Robert Maxwell. He's implicated in this. It goes back. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing. We've spent too much time on.
Cool. Where do you want to go next?
Do you want to do Ruddock?
Can we start? Let's start with the BBC article I sent you about Julia Grant. Have you got that one?
Yep.
So today's the 21st of November. Don't forget, guys, that I think it's on the 10th of December the under 16 social media ban actually comes into play, and I think
the under 16 social media ban, which should be called the everyone over 16 getting their face scanned to access the internet.
Yeah. So for all of you lovers of certain online content, start cranking that hog as hard as you can before they start literally filming you while you're doing it, if they're not doing that already. I'm sure Epstein's estate's got plenty of those videos going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is from the BBC. So Australia's internet regulator has been called to testify before the US Congress over concerns she is curbing free speech in America. In a letter to E-Safety Commissioner Julia McGrant, prominent US Republican Jim Jordan said her enforcement of Australia's Online Safety Act, or OSA, imposes obligations on American companies and threatens speech of American citizens. He described Ms. Grant as a, quote, noted zealot for global takedowns, and requested she appear before Congress by the 2nd of December, days before Australia's social media ban for under 16 starts. A spokesperson for the Commissioner said she was considering whether to agree to the request. In a statement, the spokesperson said Ms. Grant was responsible for enforcing the laws of Australia and accountable to Australia's Minister for Communications and the Australian Parliament. There's nothing e-safety is doing that prevents American companies from displaying whatever they want to Americans, the statement added. In his letter on Tuesday, Mr. Jordan, chair of the Committee of the Judiciary, said Ms. Grant's expansive interpretation and enforcement of Australia's OSA, including your claim of extraterritorial jurisdiction to censor speech outside of Australia, directly threatens American speech. Now, I don't know if it gets into it in the article, but I just want to give you an example of that. There were multiple examples where Julia McGrant actually sent takedown orders to foreign countries to remove content.
I think it's here.
Okay, cool. As a primary enforcer of Australia's OSA, noted zealot for global takedowns, you are uniquely positioned to provide information about the law's free speech implications, Jordan wrote. He also cited the legal action taken by Ms. Grant last year against Elon Musk's X platform to remove videos of a religiously motivated Sydney church stabbing for its global users. The attack, which was live-streamed, was declared a terrorist incident, and the internet watchdog threatened X and other platforms with hefty fines if they did not remove the videos, arguing it could incite further violence. X refused to comply, and the case was dropped, though the platform did later block access to the videos in Australia. And just for the record, the victim in that incident, Bishop Murray, he wanted the video to be shown online.
Yeah.
Right? And he also forgave the person who did it.
Yeah.
In his letter, Jordan accuses Ms. Grant of having colluded with pro-censorship entities in the US in order to facilitate Australia's and other countries' global censorship regimes. The letter referenced a speech that Ms. Grant gave at Stanford University earlier this year, saying this was troubling and accusing the university of past efforts to censor lawful American speech. He wrote that global content takedown orders were concerning because they harmed the free speech rights of those outside of Australia's jurisdiction and set the precedent that other governments may do the same. Can I just make the brief comment that it's wild that the US government is having to do this, and Australians should absolutely be horrified at the fact that, like, the Americans are literally doing it for their own personal benefit, right? To protect American companies. We don't want a foreign nation interfering with our First Amendment rights that we have in this country.
Fines are like $50 to $150 million.
$53 million.
Yeah.
Yep, per day that you don't take.
How do they get 3? Why? I've always wondered about fines. How do they calculate? Why is the parking fine just got $333?
Well, it's
why is
$48,990 plus GST maybe? Yeah, no, it's so dumb. But so the US is obviously self-interested in this, but as Australians, you should be absolutely horrified to understand the fact that we literally have. She's not Australian, by the way. She is American. We have an ex-CIA plant who gets to control what you are and are not allowed to see online. And this is going a step further than, shadow banning from platforms and stuff like that. She's literally issuing legal notices to these platforms to take down content that the government doesn't want you to see.
Dude, I'll tell you, I've been asking around about this, and a lot of people are very much still for this enforcement.
Yeah, of course they are, because they don't see all the reasons why you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And so, like, we've got a friend who lives in Canada and has done for quite some time, and he listens to the show. And oftentimes we talk about things that are happening in Canada that he has no idea about. Yeah. Because in Canada, they've got a ban on news content on social media, so you cannot get news on social media. And the vast majority of news coverage over there is state-funded. I think something like 75% of their media is state-funded media. So they have a lockdown on information. That's what Australia is trying to do as well. And we're literally using "won't somebody think of the children" as the Trojan horse to bring this stuff in. So I applaud the Americans for calling her out. I think it's interesting. Hold on. I think it is essentially a tacit admission of guilt if she doesn't appear at this. If you're really doing this because you believe it's the right thing to do, you would go to this committee and you would explain the reasons why.
I actually think the more important topic to be brought out of this is, why don't we have freedom of speech enshrined into our constitution?
Yeah, because we're still a penal colony.
Yeah, and these people that have defended this program genuinely believe that speech can be dangerous.
Well, look at
And then I always say the same thing. Name a time in history, name a fable, name a story, name an anecdote where stopping the people from being able to speak was a good thing.
Yeah, this is modern day book burning.
And they look at you with this blank face.
That's right.
They haven't even considered it. They think words are evil.
Yep.
Right? But they've used no logic to arrive at the thing that we need to speak freely. Mm-hmm. And also to this, I mean, look, everyone who listens to our show knows that we feel like this, but dude, you're nuts if you think that the government's the right people to moderate speech.
Absolutely.
You're nuts. You are crazy. You are a crazy person if you think that they're not going to use this to harm you and benefit themselves. We've already proven this. Our show got blocked off the internet for saying what is now public knowledge.
Yeah. And can I also say too, to the lefties out there, you might feel comfortable with the government being the person who censors the information while Albanese and the Labor government are in. But that will swing at some point. Are you comfortable handing those powers to the Liberals? Or, God forbid, to One Nation? Because they're on the massive upswing at the moment as well. So you're exactly right. The real conversation around all of this should be the fact that we are having Mum curate what you're allowed to see online. It is wild. And you even just think about, we're literally talking about, we talk about the stock market all the time, right? And we talk about how the stock market is essentially being held up by these magnificent 7 companies. Like Nvidia and Amazon and Netflix.
Well, currently it's not being held up because it's falling like a fucking lead balloon at the moment.
Yeah. But those are the only companies who are actually doing well, which is sort of hiding the fact that so many other companies were going backwards on the stock exchange over the last 12 months. Every single one of those companies is tech related. Mm-hmm. Every single one of those companies is investing in AI. We can't do any of that stuff in Australia.
Okay.
We don't have the energy infrastructure to do anything with AI. AI is extremely energy intensive. You've literally got stories about Microsoft buying and refurbishing an old nuclear power plant so they can use it to run their data centers because it requires that much power. So think about Australia. We have no nuclear power. We already have unreliable energy. So the next frontier of technology, which is AI, we can't even participate in because of governmental decisions. At the same time, we won't even allow the majority of citizens to use the internet for what it's supposed to be used for, which is increasing productivity, education. Like, how many people, like, every day, I don't know how to do something, I just jump on YouTube, I look up a video, and I figure it out, based off YouTube. Well, we're going to take any under 16-year-old kids, you won't be allowed to do that anymore. So we're literally going to dumb down our children compared to the rest of the globe, because the rest of the globe is going to have access to educational information that your children are not.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That is a really good point.
Are making
you're removing the ability to critical think for an entire country.
Absolutely. And it's not even critical think, it's just learn stuff.
Jason, what other countries can't have something similar infrastructure like this in place?
China.
North Korea. Are we modelling ourselves off them?
Well, I mean, when you actually look at the way that our politicians behave around President Xi or President Trump, which one do they seem more cozy with?
True.
It's absolutely with Xi. So, like, this is the thing, guys, and we talk about this sort of stuff all the time. The biggest problem with our country is apathy. It always has been, and it will be until it gets bad enough. And what that means is we are the lucky country. For a long, long period of time, you could literally just go about your day, not even paying attention, walking around, bumping into things, and you could have a decent quality of life for your entire life. That's not the case anymore.
I spoke to a 24-year-old this morning, new intern at the gym.
Right.
And I was like, oh, what's on for the weekend? And he's like, oh, we're going to... There's one of my friend's 25th birthdays. We're going to a pub up here, but it won't be a big one. I'm like, oh, why not? He's like, well, none of us can afford to do it.
Yeah, at 25.
Yeah, and I was like, do you know why you can't afford it? He goes, oh, because I'm poor. I'm like, but also, it's because the majority of what you're spending out at the clubs, at the pubs, is going to the tax man.
Yeah.
And they had no idea.
Yeah.
Actually, a funny little story. A friend of mine rang me yesterday, and she goes, she's got the house to herself, hubby's away, kids are away.
Oh, I like the way this phone call's going.
So she was going to have a one-woman couch party, and she just wanted to go buy a pack of cigs. She doesn't smoke, but she's going to go get some cigarettes. And she hasn't.
Hold on. The kids are away. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
How old are the kids? Just young or
15?
Oh yeah. Just a bit of that nicotine and a de-stress.
Yeah. So she goes to a shop that, like, look, it's not a Woolies or anything. It looks like a smoke shop.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't know what to ask for because she hasn't been for so long. She doesn't know. Does she ask for
it's Chinese knockoff cigarettes is what
the throat cancer ones, the foot gangrene ones.
Oh, gangrene one, or
the aborted fetus ones, yeah. So she goes, oh, do you have
is she a liberal? If she's a liberal, it's got to be, as in like a lefty, then it's got to be the aborted fetus one, right?
She's definitely not a lefty. She goes, do you have like old school ones? And the girl's like, what do you mean? And she's like, I don't know, like I used to smoke Marlboro Reds. And she's like, yeah, we got those. And she's like, oh, okay, I'll just have that. And then she pulled out like $100 because, a pack of cigarettes at the moment is $65.
Yeah.
And the girl behind the counter goes, that'll be $9, thank you.
Nice.
Now, she sent me a photo of it. And I did notice after the fact that there is a spelling mistake.
I was about to try to find a racist way to say Marlboro, but it's similar.
It says Marlboro Smooth Original Flavor.
Can we just say too, this shows you we don't hate all immigrants. The Chinese smoke shop owners, we love you. You are a pillar of the community.
Yeah, just doing the thing. They're still making a profit at $9.
Yep.
Right? And actually, if anything, they've reduced our smoking stats to 0.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we do Ruddick, or can I move into... Because you said something that kind of will trigger me into the next story, or do you want to do Ruddick?
I'll just briefly cover the Ruddick thing. So Ruddick has been named as the head of, I think it's... What's it called? Is it the Free Speech Union? Blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to read through the whole thing. Just scroll down a little bit. A little bit more. Okay, the Digital Freedom Project. So John Ruddick, who is an MP from Sydney, he's a libertarian. He's a G. I love John Ruddick. Yeah. He has been made the president of the Digital Freedom Project. The Digital Freedom Project is actually taking the e-safety commissioner to the High Court and challenging the constitutionality of the under-16s social media ban. So stay tuned. There's no updates for it yet.
I'm just signing a petition now.
Yeah, awesome. But I believe that they are due to go to court on maybe the 2nd of December or something like that at this point. But yeah, so we'll keep you posted on that, because this is the first step towards pushing back against this level of censorship. And look, I got to applaud John Ruddick. He's been a massive advocate for free speech for a long, long time. He's a
libertarian. Okay, libertarians believe in small government, and they believe that the free market should rule, and consenting adults should be able to do whatever they want.
Yep.
As long as you're not encroaching on anyone else's rights, you should be able to do whatever you want.
Yep.
And I believe the same thing, and I think the quicker we realise that the government is the problem, the quicker we will get better.
Yeah, and just to make a comment on this, I've said this on the show before, and I think it's a really important thing for people to think about, is in the country that I grew up in, what I felt like happened was that culture was dictated by the people, and then government, like politicians, sort of went where the wind blew, and they would say things that were in line with the culture that was dictated by the people because they wanted your vote.
Yeah.
We have increasingly moved into a society where culture is actually being dictated to us from the politicians down to the people. And it's using all of these different techniques. It's censoring opposing ideas. It is our politicians calling anyone who disagrees with them cookers and crackpots and all that sort of...
an expensive campaign, like social media campaign, to spread that stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, look, like, the Voice referendum was a good example. It was a referendum. It was supposed to be a constitutional change that an educated populace should have made an educated decision on, and yet the government spent millions of dollars campaigning for the yes vote only, and they tried to censor people talking about voting no, and all of those sorts of things. So increasingly, something that is a concern of mine is that we need to get back to actually creating our own culture ourselves. We all know, like, when you say, like, what does it mean to be Australian? We know how it feels. Like, people who grew up in this country, especially around our age, grew up in the 90s, even the early 2000s, we know how it feels to be an Australian. And it doesn't matter, like, what colour you are, it doesn't matter if you're an immigrant or anything like that, or if you were born here or whatever. People who want to buy into the Australian ethos and the Australian spirit, we want to have you all here. But we all need to actually pitch in and do those things and stop allowing ourselves to have our culture dictated to us by a bunch of fucking weasel beta male fuckwits in a government office who are trying to, like, mother you into, just basically being compliant
mothering you to communism.
That's what it's going towards.
Yeah, they're goading you into communism.
Yeah, and like
they're calling everyone a racist, bigoted cooker, and saying that they have to do that to create better social cohesion.
Yeah, and
How crazy is that?
And at the same time, they are protected under politically protected speech, and yet then you've got New South Wales Labor Premier Chris Minns constantly saying that we don't have freedom of speech laws like the US does because we have a multicultural society. So he's literally trying to tell you, you can't have freedom of speech if you want to have a multicultural society, otherwise there'll be no social cohesion. I can tell you right now, the best way to have a multicultural society is with freedom of speech. So you can call out particular people who are doing the wrong thing without being called a bigot or a racist.
Let me put it this way. This thought just came to me. If the normal citizenry, all we have is our voice.
Yeah.
That's all we have. That is the only power we have over the government.
Yep.
You think you've got property, they can take it.
Yep.
You earn money, they take it. They take a portion of it,
yep.
right? They get to spend it wherever they want. They don't like what you do, they don't give you the license for it,
yep.
right? They change the laws and sell you back the right to do. Well, sorry, they take your rights, sell them back to you in the form of licensing and bureaucracy, right?
Yep.
The only power we have is our voice. And if you really think about it, you might say we have the vote. The vote is the most powerful thing. But if no one hears what's happening, how is your vote going to count?
Of course, and then you look at guys like Jared Rennick, the only guy who actually had integrity in the Liberal Party, got ousted because he had integrity. He was saying things that the government, and it was his own party, didn't like hearing, and he was being very public about it, so they got rid of him. So
okay, let me leverage into this next story because
cool.
I've got to do this. What are we running at? What are we now? Okay. I watched something this week. I'm so impressed with this kid. Yes. He's 19 years old. He is the head of the Nuclear for Australia campaign, organisation.
Yep.
And he was put in front of an inquiry that had a board of Labor, Independent, and Malcolm Roberts from One Nation. Matt Canavan, who's he with now? Is he an Independent?
He's the Nationals.
Nationals, okay. And I'm so impressed with this kid. I had to show a clip. Now, a little bit of backstory. What they were really trying to pin him on is where the money came from to put up an advertising campaign for nuclear while the Liberals were talking about nuclear. Now, we covered on the show when Peter Dutton was running for the previous election, he had the weakest, most pissant nuclear argument. And that was the only thing that he seemed to want to do the opposite to Labor was nuclear, and he didn't even have a good fucking campaign on it.
Yeah.
Okay? This guy, Will Shackel... Will Shackel? Did I get that right?
Yep, Will Shackel.
Will Shackel was putting all this money and all this effort into creating... He's a bipartisan thing. He doesn't care about your affiliation. He puts the information out about nuclear. And what these Labor people were trying to frame him for is receiving money from coal companies to then push things that are anti-Labor.
Yeah.
Okay? I just want to show this clip just to get a bit of a taste. Now, this kid started this when he was 16 years old.
Yep.
He's now 19 years old.
Can we just...
These people here are professional politicians.
Yeah, professional my ass. But can we just also make the comment too, yes, the coalition receives money from coal lobbyists and gas lobbyists. But yes, Labor receives money from renewables lobbyists.
I'll come to that.
They're all taking money, bro.
Okay.
I know that you briefed the Liberals and the Nationals on, I think, around the 5th of November, around the discussions of about their energy policy. What did you cover in that presentation? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, I think the important thing, first of all, we weren't there necessarily just to brief the coalition. We put invitations out to Labor, Independent.
Okay, this is step one of where I want to give this guy credit. Okay, I love this. I love the fact, and we've made some comments on the show before, that if we were in these hearings, we'd be a little more belligerent than what...
Oh, yeah.
Right?
You should see my email chain back and forth between me and Origin Energy for the last 2 weeks.
So what politicians do all the time is they frame a question, basically accusing you of a thing, whether you've done it or not. It doesn't matter. The clip exists. And now you're essentially on the back foot, replying to something that's not true.
And not relevant.
Therefore validating as a thing to the listener.
Yeah, it is trying to destroy your credibility before the audience can even hear your argument.
So let's just go back to the question again, and then how he responds, and I'll break that part down, because I love this kid.
What did you cover in that presentation? Can you tell us a little bit of Nationals I think we know that you briefed the Liberals and the Nationals.
You briefed the Liberals and the Nationals, okay?
I think around the 5th of November, around the discussions of about their energy policy. What did you cover in that presentation? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, I think the important thing, first of all, we weren't there necessarily.
Doesn't let her off. No. I'm not answering the question until we set this up properly.
Just to brief the coalition, we put invitations out to Labor, Independents and politicians across Parliament to be able to engage. Unfortunately, we didn't receive any accepted meeting requests, which we found really disappointing, and we were walking the halls, just sharing general recommendations, which I'd be happy to share with yourself and the Labor Party as well.
So you had there was an open invitation to all the MPs, is that what you're saying? And then
we sent private invitations out to multiple Labor MPs, Independents, the coalition. We certainly weren't able to reach the whole coalition. Also, I think I've been on the record previously, it's really important that we have bipartisanship in the energy debate. The UK Labor Party supports nuclear power. They recently...
This is another thing I like about it. So he's using his time to like attack back the same way.
Yeah.
I will attach the agendas that I want to attach now to this thing. So he's not answering the question anymore because there's another lady that keeps interrupting him, and he just keeps going. He now gets to attach, okay, you guys are Labor.
Yep.
England Labor's doing it. Why aren't you?
Yep.
Right? Genius move. I love it.
Came out with their announcements around Sizewell C, but we found it really disappointing that we had brought nuclear experts to Canberra. Our supporters had backed it, and we didn't get that engagement from particularly the Labor Party. I found that really disappointing because of the jobs benefits and benefits with decarbonisation.
Well, I won't go into our energy policy in this forum, but it's out there for the world to see.
Right.
Yeah. So, but also it means your energy policy has completely ignored nuclear experts when you were given a perfect opportunity to actually hear from them.
So he covers that. I've just got to find. Okay, and this is the worst one. What he has to deal with, and let me just hold on.
While you look that up, can I just make a brief comment on this? Because this is the definition of when you play stupid games, you should win stupid prizes. This is the genius of Donald Trump. So when, these politically framed questions they are a scourge on democracy. They have been for a long time. The reason why Trump is so effective is he doesn't accept it. And he will not only call you out on your bullshit, but he'll call you a bad person and fake news and Little Piggy. But it Streisand affects that conversation because that is always going to go viral. If you call someone all of these names, they're going to be like, oh, look, he's a buffoon. So we're going to show it. But then people will see, hold on, the question you asked was completely politically weighted in a certain way, designed for a certain thing, and it actually shows more and more people what's really going on. But what's happened in Australia for so long, especially we've covered all these Senate estimates hearings and stuff where a minister will ask an expert or a bureaucrat a question, and you get nothing but fluff. And no one just goes, stop, get back to the question, stop filibustering, stop ignoring the point. It's so frustrating.
Well, there was a great moment in this. There was a great moment in this where they wanted a list of the donors, and he goes, well, I'm not going to give you the list of the donors because that's not the deal that we've done with them. They're entitled to their own privacy. They're all private individuals, and they've been willing to give. And they said, the guy goes, "Oh, will you take it on notice and bring it back next time?" He goes, "No, I don't need to take it on notice. I'm not doing it."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Oh, this kid fucking rules."
Give me a list of your donors.
Well, so what I would have done is, hey, let's do a deal. Now he did throw some scuds out there. He was like, when they said, you seem to have raised a lot of money. He's like, well, we raised much less money than the organisations designed to attack me.
Yeah.
And so he threw them out there. So it's good. Okay, you're not going to get anything out of this section, but I want to show you the difference in delivery between a career politician and a 19-year-old kid.
Right.
Helping us get there.
Well, thank you again for all you do, and once again, congratulations on what you've achieved.
Go to Senator Darmanin for some questions.
So I've just got a couple of quick ones. It's just about the funding of the organisation, and I note that before you talked about I can't remember the words you used exactly. They were remarkably similar to the IPA in terms of the confidentiality of your donors and things like that. I'm not sure if you were listening in there, but... I
don't know if you noticed, but both clips that we've watched, the girls smack their lips, and I hate that.
Yeah.
So what they did, and now that I've told you, you can't unhear it, I find it really rude, condescending. It's you going, nah. I hate it. It's a disgusting habit. But anyway, let's go.
Or familiar with the processes around answering questions to these sorts of inquiries. But with that in mind, you also...
Okay, I need to highlight that part again. All right, I don't know if you noticed it.
So many... Or familiar with the processes around...
I don't know if you're familiar with the processes.
Answering questions to these sorts of inquiries. But with that in...
Okay, that was a statement.
Yeah.
That's not a question. That was a statement. She's just thrown it out there, alluding to the fact that he doesn't know how to answer questions.
You also mentioned the...
So you changed the topic.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just something she got to throw out there as a clip that's now, you don't know what you're talking about, and it's trying to throw you off balance. That's the technique she's just used.
Yep.
Smacked her lips.
Briefing in Canberra recently and the reporting around that and your disappointment...
and the look on his face is like, man, this
bitch!
This fucking idiot.
About the backers that had obviously supported that event to occur. Who were they?
This was, so I'm not sure familiar with the system Nation Builder, which is where our website is based. That was completely Nation Builder donation. So I guess for people who aren't familiar with that system, that's grassroots.
Right.
This is him. I'll do your job for you, Darl.
A donation.
So you're talking about...
So
they were all through Nation Builder?
That was completely through Nation Builder.
Okay, thank you. Are you able to provide a list of who the donors of Nuclear for Australia are?
That's all they care about.
I don't think that's appropriate with our donation policy. There's many thousands of donors, and we haven't asked for their permission to provide that information. So obviously I can seek counsel on that and seek advice, but
that would be,
top of my mind,
I'd appreciate that if you could, just in terms of, and we're talking about, like, I appreciate what you're saying in terms of Nation Builder and online, average people. I think in terms of the kind of concerns that I think lots of people from different perspectives have raised about where misinformation comes from, I think people are really keen to understand and have transparency around who is backing the various views and organisations that are out there. And so,
can I just make the point, and at the bottom it says, this is Information Integrity on Climate Change and Energy Select Committee. None of these questions are about energy policy.
No. I watched the whole 40-minute thing and it wasn't about it at all.
All they care about is who is funding you, which one of these people can I use as a red herring to hang out to the Labor supporters to go, oh, look, all the money's coming from Gina Reinhardt, or all the money's coming from insert toxic right-wing person here. That's all they care about. Like, you got a dude who's literally been campaigning for years around nuclear energy. You didn't go to his presentation where he had nuclear experts there talking about it, and now you're in an energy and climate change select committee, and you're not even talking about it. And the thing that I really enjoyed from the previous clip was where he finished up about saying his disappointment around Labor not attending the conference because of the implications in regards to decarbonisation, which Labor apparently pretends to care about.
We won't be talking about our policy here. Ours is out there for everyone to see.
Yeah.
It's kind of with that in mind that we're thinking about large organisations, corporate donors and sponsors and people like that, as opposed to kind of the individuals who are campaigning.
Now, also a funny thing is that she said, I don't know if you were listening to the start of this, this was already covered. I watched the whole 45-minute thing. This was already covered. This bitch wasn't listening.
For whichever kind of view they hold. So that's the sort of information that, I'm certainly interested in, not just from your organisation, but from many others that we've also been asking questions of. So, if you can take that on notice in terms of the obligations around asking questions, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah,
Will, just to follow up.
The women didn't let him speak at all.
But also, just to show, she literally said that's the only information she's interested in.
Yeah.
Who are your donors? Who are your donors?
Senator Darmanen's question, if you're reluctant to provide names, I understand that, but even a split of who businesses are versus individuals would be helpful.
Thank you. Thanks.
Politely go fuck yourself.
Yeah. But this kid, watch this kid. He is brilliant. He handled himself so well in that...
Do you know what I would have said?
We should give him a shout out on... you should go on Twitter, and because he's quite prominent on Twitter, and just say, hey, we covered, you did such a good job on this thing. And
Big Willie. What he should have said is, hey, all of my donors actually attended the conference that I sent you an invite for. You could have met them, spoken with them, even asked them how much money they've contributed.
So that's the only thing that I would have liked to have seen a little bit better is him being more cheeky with the other side and just saying, I'll do a deal, I'll show you my donors, you show me yours. Let's
totally. And that's the thing. The guy's 19 years old. The way he handled himself is so capable for a 19-year-old kid.
Oh, yeah.
Super impressed. Imagine him doing this for another decade. Dude's going to be a dog.
Yeah, absolute dog.
He'll be a Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he will know how to speak to kids his age and meet them where they are on social media and talk to them about the things that actually matter to them. And he'll be a massive political force if he keeps this up.
So shout out, Will Shackel. You're a G. You've got a long career. It's going to be tough. Yeah. They're going to throw everything at you. They actually spoke about. So Canavan said, you've been the butt of many attacks. Can you talk about some of the attacks? And one of these pro-Labor, I think, literally paid $3 million to shit-can him personally.
Yeah, right.
Crikey rang his dad to get a hit piece on him. So he said, I'm going through my exam block at the moment. So when I'm finished exams, I'll come back and I'll do your interviews.
Yep, free to answer your questions.
Yep. And then they went to the dad. Dad said the same thing. They used that in the article. Oh, he doesn't want to speak to us. And he used the excuse of...
right? Again, it's reputation destruction. It's toxic feminine behaviour. Yep.
Yeah. Will Shackel, you're a G.
Yep.
Keep going. We love it.
Absolutely. We are big supporters.
Now, how long have we got?
We got time.
Okay. This might be a little bit of a heavy topic, but I had spoken to someone about this during the week. And with all this, especially when we're moving to this period where we might not have any information, our podcast might not get pushed to anyone as of the 10th of December. We don't know. Okay. I would oppose the idea that I think democracy right now in 2025 is a terrible idea. And the reason why I think it's a terrible idea is because we are entrusting a system that is supposed to use the shared knowledge of every man and woman in the country to push us forward. But we now know that these political parties have essentially corrupted and broken the system of information.
Yep. And
we are now asking people that have been given the wrong information to make decisions. The examples I can give you is anyone that is pushing, that wants free money, a socialist program,
has
probably not read a book about socialism.
Yep.
anyone who gets to vote on economics, so what percentage of people know anything about economics?
We talk about it all the time. Like, probably 5% of the country knows anything about economics.
Right? So 5%
we don't
of people
we don't teach it in
economics.
school on purpose.
You see what I posted up this week? That lady in El Salvador, they've just built money into the curriculum of the El Salvadorian school. Yeah. So now, what do I think is the answer? So bear with me for a minute, okay? Because it is going to be crazy. I think Australia moves to a republic. We distance ourselves from the British Crown, which I think everyone is kind of keen to do anyway.
Yep.
And
especially Marine Faruqi.
Yeah, and we hand over full power, so we dissolve Parliament. Parliament, at least federally, is gone. Okay, because we've got to build a new system. That parliamentary system is a British system. We don't use that system. We start a new system, and the system starts with the constitution, which we all agree to, and that could be done by referendum. Okay. But what I would like to see is essentially, I'm going to use the word, but I don't mean it like this. It could either be a president or a monarch who gets to rule Australia any way they see fit, unfettered by any oversight, for a preset amount of time. Whether that be 10 years, 15 years, it needs to be long enough to make change. Okay?
Yeah. And then, to actually employ long-term thinking rather than short-term vote harvesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then, in the Constitution, the first law should be freedom of speech, because we need that.
Yep.
And the second one should be that monarchy expires at the end of that preset term, so call it 15 years, and then it goes back to referendum. We decide what system we want to do then.
Yes, it's not necessarily voting in a new monarchy. It is deciding on a new political system.
A new political system, but in the interim, I want a statesman to come in and run Australia like a business.
Yeah.
No bureaucracy, freedom as the tenant, okay? Like as the core foundation.
Yep.
And a refresh, a reset on our system. And I think when I say statesman, I want someone that is already financially secure, who cannot be corrupted, who wants a legacy for themselves of building something great.
Yep.
An example, the name that comes to mind to me is someone like, I don't mean this person, but someone like Mark Bouris.
Right.
When I look at Mark Bouris, he, for those that don't know, he founder of was it Mortgage Choice originally, and then Yellow Brick Road,
Wizard Home Loans,
became a very rich man in his own right. Still runs businesses now. Great guy, great Australian.
Yep.
Good looking, handsome
statesman,
man. An absolute statesman,
an aspirational Australian leader.
Yeah, someone like that young people can look up to and know that he's going to treat the country the way it deserves to be treated.
Yeah.
And he's going to do the things, even if they're hard. You know, a lot of CEOs of companies have to make hard choices.
Yep.
Okay. But you have to do it as part of a corporation, otherwise the corporation dies.
Yep. Unfortunately,
under our political system, our politics can run as bad. It can run 99% bad, and it's just going to keep going. And if anything, it helps them. By making it worse, makes their life better.
They reward themselves for failure. Yeah.
And the bureaucracy increases. We've spoken about it ad nauseum.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to waste any time on the current bureaucracy that's there. I want them to just get shit done.
Yeah.
Did you see the other thing I shared this week where a British guy I think he's since moved to Dubai offered to build a road in England? He's got a company that builds roads. They didn't take his tender. They went through some other guy that's making a single carriageway, a dual carriageway, and they've given themselves 30 years to do it. This entrepreneur says that job is 9 months.
Wow.
Now, we know these things exist. These
Yep.
infrastructure things, they exist, okay? And it's little bullshit tyrannies at every step that needs to be Control A, select all,
Yep.
delete. We just need to get rid of them, and we need to start building fresh.
Can I make a brief comment on this system that you've proposed? Because I know that a certain percentage of the audience is going to recoil at the prospect of removing the current system and essentially installing a dictator, because that's going to be the most negative way that you can look at it.
Yep.
What I would say to you is, we already sort of have that system, but we just have a much more expensive version of that system.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and here's the thing. So we talk about incentives on the show all the time, and everyone talks about democracy like it's this amazing thing, and it's the only way to go, and that sounds great because it's a nice thing to say. The problem is, you have to actually analyse the incentives at play for the political class. So as we were previously discussing earlier in the conversation, we do not value education in this country. The state education is pretty shit. You got to think the political class, the majority of the older people in the political class got free university education. We don't get free university education anymore. They make you pay for it. They also don't regulate the sort of courses that universities can offer. So you can go and get yourself into an $80,000 HECS debt for a stupid, irrelevant qualification that you will never even be able to get a job for. And then you'll realise that you don't get a job, so you can go back to uni and get another $80,000 HECS debt doing something else that's completely irrelevant, but the government doesn't actually regulate that at all. So, we have created a system where democracy is actually a victim of itself because of where the incentives lie. The politicians are incentivized to dumb down the citizenry because an educated citizenry would not vote for these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
They would see, and I mean, the most simple example that I like to talk about all the time because it shows the absolute hypocrisy of the political class, and this is primarily Labour, but the Liberals are guilty of it as well. You cannot continuously tell the Australian people that unless you're an Indigenous person, you're a coloniser, and at the exact same time be advocating for mass immigration from other countries.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. The mass immigration has a negative effect on the Indigenous Australians too. So those two things, you cannot advocate for both of those things and be a logical, rational person.
Yet here we are.
And the reality is they need you dumbed down. They need you fighting with each other. You want to talk about social cohesion? All of the lack of cohesion comes from the government.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the government setting fire in all of these culture wars all the time. Because the government is not governing in your best interests. So they need you to be fighting with each other so you're not looking at them. So while it sounds crazy to go throw them all out, bring in a dictator, we've already got a dictator. It just looks different. It just
has 2.5 million staff.
We have the illusion of choice and an illusion of democracy. And the best example of the illusion is what happened to Jared Rennick. There was a lot of conservative Liberal voters who massively supported Jared Rennick, and his own party knifed him, even though he would have won.
Voice of Parliament. We all voted no. So Victoria just goes and does
and signs a treaty. They don't give a fuck what the people actually want, right? Because they know better than you. So, let's say that you remove those incentives and you bring in a Mark Bouris. And again, like you said, one of the biggest benefits of Mark Bouris is the polar opposite of Anthony Albanese. One of the biggest concerns I've always had about Albo was how we talked about how he grew up as a broke-ass in public housing. That means you're cheap to buy.
Yeah.
Bouris is not cheap to buy.
He's worth $200 million.
Yep, to me, that was one of the most appealing things about Clive Palmer. When he was swinging in the political game, the dude's rich. He's not going to be bought by globalists and be told to do things that are against the will of the people to benefit himself financially. Once you've got billions of dollars, you don't need that shit. And this is what's going to come out of all this Epstein disclosure stuff with Trump. The reason why he's so willing to release all that information is because he knows they talked about him all the time, because he was the guy they probably couldn't control because he had too much money. They couldn't buy him. They couldn't compromise him, right? So yeah, I never.
And also too, the idea sounds very confronting, but I feel like we fall victim a lot when I bring up these topics. A lot of people are really they think it's such a foreign and crazy concept.
Yeah.
But you can jump on a plane here and fly for 7 hours to Dubai.
Yeah.
Who has made themselves rich in 2 generations, run a principality, have very strict laws, extremely high quality of life there, building this utopia.
Very high trust, multicultural society.
Yeah. And what do they do different to us? Consistency across the law.
Yep.
Everyone's treated exactly the same.
Yep.
Extremely free and open markets.
Yep.
In that you can go and set up, I've been told that I should go set my business up over there.
Yep.
Extremely low taxation, next to zero. So no income tax.
Yep.
Which we shouldn't have here either.
Yep.
Very low company tax. And they have different economic zones designed for different rules. Whereas we have one economic zone, which is don't fucking do business here in Australia because they don't want you to do it.
And they've also got no welfare system.
Yeah, no welfare. And, interestingly enough, no public health care, yet their healthcare spend per person is less than here.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just these radical... It sounds radical when you say it to an Australian, but these structures exist in other places. You just need to do a little bit of research and realise I'm not making these ideas aren't novel.
Yep.
They are pre-existing. I'm using data from other places and applying them here. You don't have to be that smart.
Yeah.
You just pick a system that works really, really well and copy it.
And also, especially for young people who might be watching the show, a lot of you guys are coming into a system that you never benefited from, and it's fucking hard. The deck is stacked against 18-year-old kids leaving school.
Oh, yeah.
Now. It's completely stacked against you. We do need to try something different.
And who did that to you?
Yeah, the political class who is
in power now. It wasn't us. It wasn't the people.
That's right. It was the political class, because the political class is incentivized to dumb you down, to lie to you constantly, to get what they want.
Also think about this too. Think of a construct in civilization that is tasked with making a new rule every day. And that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And yet, that's what our government does.
That's right.
They don't remove rules. They only make rules.
They write new ones.
And every time they write a new one, this gap of freedom is just going, smaller, smaller, smaller. And look, while the stuff doesn't affect you, I have this argument all the time about the monetary stuff. This money laundering shit. I can't accept $11,000 in cash without signing a document, and then you get 20 questions at the banks.
Yeah.
What does that stop? How does money laundering affect you, Jason?
Yeah, it doesn't at all.
It doesn't at all. It affects none of us.
Yep.
It doesn't do anything. But what you've done is you've passed the burden onto every single normal, law-abiding citizen and made their life just that little bit harder.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's 100,000 of those little tyrannies that have been perpetuated on us.
And so what we talk about all the time, the people who are not following the law are going to continue to not follow the law.
Exactly.
So applying new laws to law-abiding citizens just puts the burden on the people that shouldn't have that burden placed upon them.
The cigarette one. Cigarettes. Okay, so they're not generating any income from the taxation of cigarettes because the black market cigarettes are so cheap.
Yeah.
Well, remove the tax.
That's right.
If you are a first principles thinker, if you were trying to solve the problem, that's what you would do. But if you're a government bureaucracy that thrives and is benefited by increasing the size and funding and shaking more money out of the tax base to filter through your bureaucracy, you're going to do what they've just announced this week, which is double down on enforcement.
Yeah, because the problem with removing the tax is that you then have to remove the government departments you've set up to try to police the tax. And look, and again, if you remove the sin tax, you're still getting GST, so the government's going to make more money. You ain't getting GST from a $9 pack of cigarettes.
That's why Pinesy in New South Wales was like, maybe we should lower the excise on it because he's a state premier that gets paid the GST.
Correct. Yeah.
but also too, that's the other thing. understand it's all about money.
Yeah.
But if you put Mark Boris in charge, he doesn't need the money.
No.
$200 million will pay him $1.5 million a year passively.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do anything, and he can. What's that a week?
It's a lot. It's more than a living wage. Put it that much.
So he doesn't have to worry about skimming this and skimming that and taxing here and taxing there. He's got to look at it and go, do we need this? No, delete. Do we need this? No, delete. And to all the people that have the debate that I had with someone this week about it, because I talked about childcare. Yeah. I said, I don't think the state should subsidise childcare. And he goes, no, we need it. I said, I'm going to stop you. Every time I mention it, your assumption is that childcare won't exist without state funding.
Yeah.
But that's not true.
No.
What will happen under my system is the exact right amount of childcare at the exact quality expected by the community will exist.
Yep.
And the people that there will be a cohort in the middle, right on the tipping point now, where they're either they're on the fence whether they send it and go to work or not.
Yep.
They will now have a real choice to get the right outcome. The free market will decide what that thing is. The government, every time the government pushes up against the free market, you are building a system that is destined to fail.
Correct.
You cannot force something against the free market. The free market is too strong. And
because the free market is just human behavior. It's just it's basic human behavior. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the free market's not this magical machine or this evil capitalist entity. It's just human psychology. It is human beings will do what human beings do.
And the other thing that they don't get either is, like, under my system, you've got more money.
Yeah.
So, and you will deploy the money to where you think it's important.
Correct.
Not
you don't
where
need
the government
subsidies.
thinks it's important.
Yeah.
Right? Why am I paying for your childcare?
That's right.
Right?
Why is the regional Queensland farmer paying for 50-cent fares on transportation?
In the city. Yeah, totally. So the free market enables, and the decentralization of the economy as well, absolutely improves that result. But now, our biggest employers in Australia are governments.
Yep.
That's wrong.
And again, why are they the biggest employer, Alex?
Because there's no jobs.
Yep. But, again, it's to make people dependent on government. It is about the political classes' political careers. Like, the majority of Australians are now either employed directly by government, employed indirectly by government, or are heavily reliant on government subsidies, which means you're all on the teat, so you're going to vote for your best interests.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. And this is the thing that, like I've said about leftist governments, and because this is all over the world, this is not unique to the Labor Party, but the biggest concern and the thing I find so insidious about leftist governments is they market themselves as the people who care about the downtrodden and the poor. And what the downtrodden and the poor don't realise is they will keep you downtrodden and poor because they're the ones who promise to give you the most money on top, so they can buy your votes for cheap.
I saw a great meme about this. Take $500 off when the government takes $500 off someone.
Yep.
And gives $20 to 5 people, you lose 1 vote and gain 5.
Yep. Yep. And that's exactly what our political class is doing.
Democracy is failing us. I'm not saying it's a dead system, but right now, at this point in time, the way the information is working, the way that it's circulating, we are not getting the desired result. Therefore, we should be smart enough to reassess what we do going forward.
So I propose we have one last crack at the current system under a One Nation government. So if all of you can get on board and vote One Nation at the next federal election. And then after that, if that doesn't work, let's go for it. Let's do something different.
Yeah. And on that note,
thanks very much for joining us, guys. We will see you all next week.